So take a shot every time I say I'm really excited. Actually don't, because you might actually hurt yourself. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary, and today's video is going to be my July book haul. I'm not planning on having one of these every month, but I bought a lot of books this month, so I figured this would be a good time to show them to you. I got them from a lot of different places, so I'm gonna do this instead of in order of the books that I bought. I'm gonna do it by store, if that makes sense. I hope that does. So I'm gonna start with some books that I got at Half Price Books. I got quite a few last time I was at Half Price Books. I actually bought these in 2 different trips, but I'm just gonna talk about them all right now. I don't really remember which ones I got during which trip to Half Price Books. So the first book that I purchased is The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. I got this because I was intending to read it for the Summer Ween Readathon. And now, if you've been keeping up with my channel, you know that it's on my August TBR instead, because I did not get to it in July. So I'm really excited to finally read this. It's very short. This copy was like $15 because they said it's like an older out of print copy. I feel like I got ripped off because it's not in good shape. Like, it's all dinged up here. The edges have been like colored green. And it doesn't look like they were sprayed green. Like, it kind of looks like someone markered them. I'm not really sure, but I have this now. The next book that I got from Half Price Books was Olive Kitteridge by Elizabeth Strout. I am not super sure what this is about. I think it's just a like slice of life type of book. I've heard pretty good things about this. I want to say my mom maybe has read this, and I think I have the sequel to this on my Kindle, so I'm hoping I can read this and then I will read Olive again. It's set in a small town in Maine in what year? I don't know anything about this. I haven't even read the back.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
The next book that I picked up I'm very excited about, and that is Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes, which is the second book in the You series. I read the first book earlier this year and absolutely loved it, so I'm really excited to get to this one soon, hopefully. This is a thriller series, and it follows this man, Joe Goldberg, who in the first book works at a bookstore in New York City, and a woman comes into his shop and he starts to stalk her using her name that he finds on her card when she pays for her books, and he sort of like inserts himself into her life in a really creepy way, and I'm really excited to see what happens in the next book. I have seen the first 2 seasons of the show already, so I know what happens in the second season of the TV show, but I've heard that the book is quite different and that the show in the second season took a lot of liberties. And I just love being in Joe's head, which sounds kind of messed up, but he's kind of messed up, and it's just really fascinating to be in the brain of the bad guy, if that makes sense. The next book that I picked up from Half Price Books was 28 Summers by Ellen Hilderbrand. This is another author that my mom really likes, and I saw this book and picked it up because of that. I don't really know a lot about it. It looks beachy, it looks summery, it looks like it's probably about people who go to the same beach every summer on vacation or something for 28 years. I have no idea. That could be entirely wrong. I just made that up on the fly.
Imagine how tired we are of it.
But I'm really looking forward to reading this at some point when I want like a more relaxing, beachy summer read. I'm gonna turn off my AC. Oh. Okay, I've turned off my air conditioning unit, so hopefully the sound quality is a little bit better. I don't know how much that actually affects it, but I feel like in one of my videos I left it on the whole time and it was not very good, so I wish I remembered to turn it off at the beginning, but here we are.
People say that time heals all wounds.
The next book that I picked up was The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. This is another book that I don't really know anything about. I think I thought it was a thriller when I picked it up, but it's actually literary fiction on Goodreads. So it's set in 2003. And it's about a woman who is serving the first of 2 consecutive sentences in a prison. That's all I know about it that I read from the front cover just now. So I'm looking forward to reading this at some point as well. And then another book that I've talked about semi-recently, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I picked this up at Half Price Books as well. It's huge. How many pages is this? Oh, honestly, not as many as I thought. It's less than 1,000. It's 908 pages. This looks massive for 908 pages, but this is definitely a brick. It's a huge book, and this is a really long French classic about Jean Valjean and other people who were involved in, or who just have lives in France during the French Revolution, and how their lives are sort of impacted by the revolution, I believe is like the premise of this book. So I've seen the movie, and that's all I really know about it. And I'm doing a read-along. I'm supposed to be doing a read-along, I should say. I haven't actually started this yet, and I know they've already done part 1, so I need to catch up. But the read-along is hosted by Victoria from A Musical Bookworm, and I don't know if there's other co-hosts, but I will link her announcement video down below. The next place I went was actually Revolution Records, and I showed myself in there during a vlog. So I'll try to link that vlog. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I did get, these are out of order. That is so annoying. I did get the first 4 books, and now they're backwards because you're the other way. Okay, whatever. It goes 1 through 4, and this is in his, what is his series called? I don't know, but it starts with Swan's Way. I can't remember what the series is called.
I know a lot of things, but I don't know about that.
There's 6, I think, in the whole series, and I have the first 4, and they're classics. Again, I think Marcel Proust is also French. He sounds French. I don't really know.
Oui, oui, baguette.
In Search of Lost Time. That's what the series is called. But it's supposed to be about, let's just read it here. In Search of Lost Time is one of the most entertaining reading experiences in any language and arguably the finest novel of the 20th century. But since its original pre-war translation, there has been no completely new version in English. Okay, so this is just saying that it's about the translation, and then it says, Swan's Way is one of the preeminent novels of childhood. A sensitive boy's impressions of his family and neighbors all brought dazzlingly back to life years later by the taste of a Madeleine. So I think it's just someone reflecting on his life. I've heard very mixed reviews of this, but I'm interested to see how I feel about it, and I'm contemplating doing a read-along where for myself, I don't know if I would host it or have anybody else do it. I don't know if there's any interest in that, but I'm contemplating reading those books in the 5th and 6th installments just every other month next year, kind of like I'm doing my Jane Austen book club this year. We'll see. I don't know if that's exactly how I'm going to do it. The next book is a single book that I picked up at Walmart, and this is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I have been wanting to read this for a while. I've heard mostly good things, but some people really didn't like this book. It's a thriller, and I believe it's following a psychoanalyst in a hospital and a patient that won't speak about whatever has happened to them. So the psychoanalyst is trying to get the patient to talk, or psychotherapist. I don't remember which one it is. I'm not a psychology person. I've never taken a psychology class. But it sounded interesting. I heard mostly good reviews, but some pretty negative ones. So I'm excited to see where I fall on that. And I'll read this at some point, hopefully soon. Next, I have several more books that I got from a record store here in Kansas City called Mills Records, I think. It's in Westport. If you live here, I'll try to remember to link it down below so you can check them out. They have a really cool book selection as well as a record selection. My boyfriend is really into collecting records, and we have a lot of records at our house. So whenever he comes to visit me, Kansas City has a lot more record stores than the town in Arkansas where we're from. We only have one where we're from. So we go to different record stores, and we found a couple different record stores that have bookstores inside of them, or book selections within the record stores, I should say. So these next couple of books I got from Mills Records, and the first is Emma by Jane Austen. I got this because I'm doing the Jane Austen read-along. This is the book for this month. I thought this was a decently nice copy. It seems fine. There's nothing like beautiful about it. It's not one of the newer copies that are really pretty, but it's in good shape. Whereas the Mansfield Park copy that I got for when we were at Mansfield Park in June, I got that from not Goodwill, Half Price Books, and it was not in very good shape. So I'm excited to read this. I will link the information to that read-along that I'm hosting where we read all of Jane Austen's books this year. We're reading all of her works in publication date order. If you've been around this channel for a while, you're probably sick of me saying that, but it's the truth. So we are reading Emma in August, so I will be getting to that this month. The next book that I have is The Library Book by Susan Orlean, which is, I believe, I've heard it reads like a true crime. It is a true crime novel. I've heard it reads like crime fiction, but it's based on real events, and I think it's based on a theft. Oh no, it's a fire. Okay, it's a fire, and they think it's arson. That's what it is. You can't really see this because of my ring light, but it's The Library Book by Susan Orlean. I don't know where I heard about this, but it's been on my Goodreads TBR for quite some time, and I saw it in this store, and I said, I've heard of that. I would like to get it. I think I thought it was fiction, though, so I'm interested to read this. The next book that I picked up is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, which I believe won the Women's Prize for Fiction or was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction last year. but this is about Shakespeare's son. So it's William Shakespeare's son, is his name Hamnet? Maybe. But it's about him, and he gets sick and dies when he's very young, and so I think it's also about his mother, but I could be wrong about that. I clearly don't read synopses of books until I'm about to read them, or at all. So
He's a wild card. Flies by the seat of his pants. Completely unpredictable.
but I've heard really good things about this. I'm interested to see, again, how I will feel about it, because I know that a lot of people really loved this book, and I'm just excited to check it out. I do want to get into more literary fiction literature and books that are nominated for prizes. Yes. But I know that I don't always have the best track record with them. So then I got Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. This is just another one of his covers that has, it's a drawing from his notebook. I don't think it has anything to do with the book. I have this same like type, but Cat's Cradle at our house in Arkansas. And so I'm very excited to read this. I have only read one book from Kurt Vonnegut, and it was The Cat's Cradle, or just Cat's Cradle, and it's one of my favorite books to this day. I love that book. So I'm very excited to read more from him, and I think my boyfriend said that this is his dad's favorite, perhaps. So I'm hoping to get to this one soon as well. Then I picked up Prep by Curtis Sittenfeld, and I didn't realize that Curtis Sittenfeld is actually a woman. I thought it was a man, because I think of men when I think of the name Curtis. So I don't know very much about what this is about, but I did read Eligible, which is a Pride and Prejudice retelling by Curtis Sittenfeld a few years ago now, like probably 2018, and I really enjoyed that book. So I'm excited to read more from her, and I've heard things about this being a very like thought-provoking read, so I'm excited to see what it's about. I assume it has something to do with prep school, but I don't know. And then the last thing I got from that bookstore is this Vegan Cooking for One cookbook. I picked this up because I'm always on the market for new recipes. I'm a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan, but I do like to dabble in vegan cooking, and I'm the only one. I live with my boyfriend, he is not a vegetarian or a vegan or anything, so I often cook for myself, and I was interested to try some one-person meals, because usually what I do is I make a meal for a family of 6, and I eat it all week. But this is supposed to have, like, divided into weeks, so it has a grocery list for the week, and then all of the recipes that for you to eat for dinner throughout the week. So I'm excited to have this one. Also, it has a bookmark in it because I've been reading through it. Is that weird? Do other people do that? I don't know. And then last weekend I went down to Arkansas, and we went to Fort Smith to go to a water park. And while we were there, we went to the Savers in Fort Smith. Savers is like a Goodwill thrift store type of situation. I love Savers. I picked up The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini, I think is how you pronounce that. I think it's called 1,000 Splendid Suns by him. Again, I think in like 2018 or 2017 maybe even? No, I think it was 2018 because I wasn't in college. But I really enjoyed that book. And so I'm excited to read this. And I think it's I think he writes essentially like historical fiction books about growing up in Afghanistan. Is that correct? I don't know, it doesn't say. But either way, I'm excited to read this. And then also from Savers, I picked up Trevor Noah's memoir, Born a Crime, which is about him growing up in South Africa. In South Africa, I think at the time he was born, I don't know about still, but at the time he was born, it was illegal for a black person and a white person to have a baby together or to have a relationship. And so he is mixed. He has a black mother and a white father. And I think this is just about like his life and his experiences. I've heard his, I don't know if it's considered stand-up, but I have heard him do some sort of comedy things online. And like, I know he took over The Daily Show for Jon Stewart. Is that how he used to do it? When I was in high school, I think is when that switch happened. But I am sort of familiar with Trevor Noah's story, and I've heard him talk a little bit about growing up in South Africa and how if he ever went anywhere with his mom, he would have to stay with like the mixed people, or I think they're called colored people. So it's like if you're black, you're black. If you're white, you're white. And if you're mixed, you're colored, I think is what their like phrasing is. I don't really know. I'll know more after I read this. But he talked about how he would have to stand behind his mom so that people didn't know that she was his mom, because then they would know that he had a white dad and that wasn't allowed, which is really interesting and really, really sad, obviously. So I'm really excited to get to this. Okay, and the final book for this haul, I'm really excited about. I've said that about all of them, I think. So take a shot every time I say I'm really excited. Actually don't, because you might actually hurt yourself. But from Target, I picked up The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which is one of my 5-star predictions. So I will be reading this soon, hopefully, and doing my secret vlog thing that I'm doing where I'm reading my 5-star predictions. And at the end of the year, I'm going to tell you how I felt about them all, I guess. And if I actually gave them 5 stars. But this has the 30% off sticker, so I'm going to try to get that off because I think this is like a really pretty cover. I know it's not like everyone's cup of tea, but I really like it. If you don't know what this is about, from what I understand, it's about a woman who tries to commit suicide. And when she does, she wakes up in a midnight library and she's told that all of the books in the library contain different versions of her life if she had made different choices. And so she's allowed to skim through the different books and sort of decide if she thinks she made the right choice in her life or if she really is disappointed in the choices that she made. I think that's the gist of it. So it's like a contemporary with a sci-fi twist, I guess, type thing, or like a fantasy twist. But I am really excited to read this. But that is it. Those are all of the books that I purchased in the month of July, which is a lot. I don't think I will be buying books to this extent for quite some time. I don't know what I was thinking buying all these books, but let me count up the books so I can tell you how many I have. That is a nice round number of 20 books that I've purchased in the month of July. If you made it to this point in the video, make sure to let me know which of these books I should prioritize reading. Which of these have you read? And if you liked them, disliked them, I would love to hear all your thoughts about them in the comments down below. Feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you would like to see more content from me because I do post 2 videos every single week and I will see you in the next one. Bye!